We are Steve and Phyllis Joss. This is our bus Sandy and our dog Sky. And this is a 2003 International. It has a DT 466 engine and an Allison 2000 series transmission.
So welcome into our home, Sandy. The beginning of the bus is our living room / guest room. The couch folds down and this comes into the middle. So we have a nice queen size bed for our guests, and it also serves for storage. So under both of these, we have all of our storage, our fun things that we use for kayaking or paddle boarding. All of our toys are in here. And we also have a diesel heater for our cold nights that is hidden underneath here as well. So our diesel heater underneath here, it's very small. It works incredible. It keeps the entire bus warm. We've been in 30-degree weather just with the diesel heating the bus, and we've been in really good shape. So it works great for us. Because I love the living room. The living room is really just a spot that, we can have a lot of friends. We've had 7 people sitting in the living room, and everybody's had a spot to sit in. We have our 2 hanging chairs that we love to put up. And it's really, at the end of the day on our travels, we just really reflect on what we've done for the day. We get to enjoy the scenery outside. So we get a lot of use out of our living room. So this is our kitchen. We really wanted to keep some of the natural elements. Our theme is very beachy. We're both from Fort Lauderdale, and the beach is our favorite place to be. So we wanted to incorporate that into our home. So on the countertop here, we put stone and epoxied it. So the countertop was really a challenge. We did not intend to put the stone on it. We had gotten it for another area and set the stone down and thought, oh, that would look really awesome. But we didn't know what we were doing. So it really was a process of about 3 months of just trying something different each time. We put it down, we grouted it, let it sit there for a little while, and just kept mixing it up. And we finally loved the final result now that it's been epoxied. And so it turned out to be one of my favorite things, but it was really difficult initially to figure it all out. The live edge came off of this countertop. We cut off the back part to make it fit flush. And this was just too beautiful to get rid of, so we incorporated it into the countertop here. Our cabinets, it was just wood. We distressed it, stained it, and I left little messages in the wood for my husband that he didn't know when I was doing so it was kind of fun. He finds like little words here and there. 2-burner stove, propane. Really simple. We just have a 5-gallon propane tank underneath the sink. So it was really easy to set up. As far as the sink, I really wanted the farmhouse sink. I just think it adds the nice white, clean look. So in the back here, we have fresh herbs. Our cilantro, it's really nice when we're cooking just to be able to grab some fresh herbs. Our spices, our oil and vinegar. And all of this stays when we're traveling. I don't have to take any of it down. It's actually pretty secure. Our mouthwash, our dish soap, everything is just right here and easy to get to. So we find that we don't use that many different spices, so everything's been easy just to kind of simplify a little bit. The countertop here, we got in upstate New York. It's a red oak. And these are just our everyday things that we need, our contact stuff, doggy treats, just any of the things that we need to get to on an ongoing basis, we keep here. All of our storage is here. Everything is on a pull-out, so we have all of our dishes, snacks, cups, storage stuff is all in these 2. Yeah, so we bought her in February 2020, and then everything went a little crazy in March. We didn't know that we actually wanted to live in a bus. We did a trip about 3 or 4 years ago. We went to Seattle, Washington, Oregon, in Idaho, and we traveled around for 2.5 weeks, going to Airbnb and working. So we realized during that time that we were able to travel and work, and we didn't have to be stationary in one place. So that just kind of got our minds going. And we originally thought that we were going to Airbnb around the country, have our Tahoe, and just explore the country, and decided, why do we want to pack and unpack? So we started thinking about getting an RV. And one day at 4 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't sleep, and I saw a YouTube video on Skoolies and absolutely fell in love with the idea. And I woke him up, we watched it together, and he looked at me and said, "Would you do that?" And I said, "Yeah, would you?" And 2 months later, we bought a bus. This countertop turned out to be such a dream. We found it in upstate New York, and it was just a raw piece of red oak. And I absolutely fell in love with wood when I was sanding this down, just watching the beauty come out in our countertop. I love it because it is all the way to our bed. And I try to keep this space as clean as possible and as empty as possible, because it's our prep station, a place to work. If we need friends coming over, it works out so perfect. And we bought it this lane, so it was just meant to be that it went directly from the living room to the bedroom. One of the nice things I love too is the windows on both sides open, so we get a nice view as I'm prepping and cooking dinner. Storage here for dog food. All of our silverware, kitchen stuff is in here. We have a Dometic refrigerator. So our Dometic, it's perfect for us. We've got the freezer and fridge. And we can go with probably about a week of groceries in here. So it's plenty of space for us, and it's nice because it's out of the way. One of our biggest goals in doing our build is we wanted it as open, as simple as possible. We didn't want to have many walls. We just wanted a completely open look. So having this fridge down here kind of tucks away and out of the way. So this is my office / makeup table. I have my Mophie that's up above, and it's perfect because I get Wi-Fi anywhere that we're at, except for, there's some remote areas I haven't gotten it, but I can pretty much work anywhere that we are and have full internet. I have my speaker up here, so I have some nice music going that goes along with the beautiful scenery. So just a really nice spot to work. There's a little step that goes up here, and originally what we had done with this, it was going to be a walk-through shower. So we had it plumbed out and never used it. It was just one of those things that was not as important as we thought it would be. So we took all the shower out and made this a storage. So I have all of our winter coats, any of the clothes that we typically won't wear unless it's seasonal is tucked away in here. So we found that it was a better use of space for us personally to have the storage underneath instead of the walk-through shower. So this is our bathroom. We have a composting toilet. It has a separator, so we have a separate tank underneath that is just for, we call our yellow tank. Just very simple. So there's a lot of things in our bus that we've incorporated by things that we found along the way. So this is all driftwood. One we got in Jekyll Island, and the other one we got from our furthest point from our trip last year when we went out west. And this is from Montana, from Quake Lake. So we incorporated that. These are a couple of trips that we took. So just little things that we've been adding to Sandy as we travel. This is our closet. We use it for our linens, pajamas, our shoes, socks. And then I have like some coats and stuff up in here. This is our master suite. Very comfortable space, very cozy. We have all of our clothes storage above. This is Steve's side. That's my side. We have blinds that are really easy in the evening for privacy, but we also have really nice views. So a lot of times in the morning we just lay in bed, have our coffee, and just watch the beautiful view. And I have a lot of storage underneath. So this storage goes to about here. So this is also another place that we put our clothes and stuff. So I have a lot of clothes and everything that's also in here that we don't use as often. Our mattress is a queen size. It fits both of us very well. My husband's very tall, and we just feel very comfortable. We've not had a problem. Now we have our dog sharing our bed with us, so it's getting a little bit tighter, but we don't mind. So our mini split, it's really great. It keeps the place really cool. We're able to get a few hours out of the mini split just on the solar that we have. We really don't use it very often, and the reason we don't is because we get such a nice breeze. One of the reasons that we kept all the windows on the bus is we really like the cross breeze. So even on a warm day, we still get a lot of the cool air that comes through. The ceiling was a lot of work. This was something that my husband put a lot of love into. All of the ceiling he did by himself, so he had to find clever ways to hold it as he was going around the curve. And as you know, in a school bus, there's nothing that is correctly square, or, so there's a lot of elements to work with. And he did screws, so he didn't use a power gun, and he hid all the screws in between. So we love the ceiling. It's probably one of our favorite features on our little home. So one of the questions we get a lot is, how long are you going to do this for? And it kind of makes us both scratch our head a little bit, because we're like, what do you mean? Like, go back to living in one spot? Like, why would we stop living the way that we're living? Because we're having such a great time. So I don't really see this as a temporary thing. It's just a lifestyle for us that we really enjoy. Who knows what happens 5 years down the road? There's no guarantees in life, but we're just staying in the moment and very happy living in our little tiny home.
Yeah, we know a lot of people around the country, just, from starting off our first jobs, and then they took another one and they moved here, and then they're in Seattle, and then they're in like Atlanta, and they're all different places. And instead of just talking to them on the phone and not seeing her for 5 years, you go around the country and you're like, here, we're going to be here, and you get together with them and you see them. So you do get to see your family and friends more often than if you just stayed in one place and had a 2-week vacation.
Yeah. That is one of the things. I thought that being in bus life, we were going to be less inclusive and around people a little bit less, but it's been the exact opposite. We feel like we formed more relationships and gotten to spend time with more people, but it's also been quality time because we're in our home, we're comfortable, we can stay as long as we want. So it's been a completely different dynamic in that.
So this is a 28-foot bus, and when we first got it, I stepped onto it, and it was about right at the top of my head. I'm about 6'3", and I knew it was going to be kind of tight, and I'd feel really cramped on it. So we made a decision that we were going to raise the roof on it. So when we raised the roof, we raised it like just over 12 inches, and as you can see that between the drip edges on there. And then what we did is we moved the windows to go up all the way on here, because when you stand inside, you can just basically still look out and see your surroundings on it. And then also when you sit in there, Phyllis sits in her office, she also has a really good view looking around, and the same thing with the couch. So that was a lot of work. That probably took almost 2 months in itself, because I had to refabricate all of the edges here around the windows and be able to move it back up, and then put the metal, and I think I put somewhere around like 1,500 rivets back into it. So when it was done, I also put 2 inches of insulation in the floor, and then 3/4 board on top of that, plus the roof on it. I lost like an extra 5 inches on it, so that's why we went ahead and raised it. So now it's a very comfortable feel on the inside, and really I have not had anybody in there that has not been able to stand up straight. So one of the best investments that I think I did on this is on Sandy was I went ahead and I got all new tires on it, just for a safety purpose. When I did look at it about a month after we had it, and I rode a little bit, drove her a little bit, I actually saw a little bit of a dry rot, of a crack of about like 4 inches on it, and I'm like, I don't want to worry about a blowout. So I went ahead and had all of them replaced, and I feel very confident and very comfortable when I'm driving down the road, and it's just another thing that's out of your mind, and you just feel safe when you're doing that. The overall length is 28 feet, as I said. And then this is an extension here on the deck. And underneath I have a storage for a generator. That's my propane for the gas grill right here. This basically just goes ahead and spins around and pulls out. So this goes in here. Put the pin back in, and then we can go ahead and travel. So we weren't sure that we were going to put a deck on this, but when I started doing some work on the bus, is I wanted to put a gray tank underneath between the I-beams that go through it. And because it's a front, the engine is in front of the tires, there was probably an 800-pound weight in the back that I spent almost a week trying to cut out and pull it out. And I put so much effort into that put the gray tank in there, and I said I might as well just build a frame around it. So I put square 8x3 beams in there, and then just put the deck on top of that. So this is also a space where we've been able to park over water and a river, and then Phyllis can also work out on this deck also when it's a nice day. We have 8 panels up there that's 100 watts each. I'm running a 12-volt system. You're only supposed to be able to run 700 watts on that, but I figured with the inefficiencies, and it came in the kits in pairs, that I went ahead and used it. And I can average on a sunny day somewhere around like 650 watts on it, so I'm within that range. And compared to what we use, we don't have a lot of electronics, so we can charge on a sunny day probably by like almost 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're fully charged again. Our biggest power consumer is the Dometic that we have in there, and then we run a fan, once in a while, but that's about it, and the Mophie and lights. So this is the condenser for the mini split. I wanted to mount it so it was not as obtrusive where you really couldn't see it. So I went ahead, and metal's getting expensive, so I was able to find just an old bed frame, cut it up, and then bolt it onto here and put the condenser inside of that. And then run the pipes up through here for the condenser, and then it goes into the back where the mini split is. And then I was also able to run the power for the solar up through here, and then go up underneath the bottom in order to pull the power in from there. So right now I just have 4 Battleborn batteries, 100 amp each. I have my controller for the solar, and then also use the bus bar down to the batteries to all the other components. Underneath there is also a 100-gallon water tank that I'm glad we got as much as we did, because we can go for like almost 2 weeks without filling it again with water. The gray tank underneath in the center here is a 35-gallon. Everything feeds out through here just the same as you would for an RV. And then this one over here is, since we have a separator in our composting, I basically just took like a 5-inch pipe, PVC pipe, and just connected it so it goes about from here to the end on the inside, and I figure that's somewhere around like 9 to 10 gallons. I don't have problems with any of the power. On a full sunny day, we can recharge by like say 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I probably at some point I will add a couple more batteries, and then the other part on my research, I've been talking with people around here, and 24 volt is a better system when you have solar, so I'm going to do more research into that and possibly get a couple more batteries and transition over to that for just the efficiency. One of the things that we do like doing is going out west, and this past year we went all the way to Idaho, and there's so much BLM land out there. We want to have as much water as possible, and then always have power that you can pull, and you can just stay out as long as you would like to. It has been a really great transition, and being able to get out and just travel and see the country. It's beautiful, and just see more people. We really have got to know people from all across the country, and it's great to know when you're driving even through Texas or some state, you'll find somebody you know.
We feel like we're living small, but we're living big. And we really live big because there is just so much more that our life has offered us now. and we realize it's a lot less stuff and more adventures, more, it's just so much more relaxing. We find ourselves smiling a lot more, and at the end of a lot of days, we sit in the living room, we listen to music and have our fun lights on, and we're like, God, that was a great day. Oh my God, that was an amazing day. And without a doubt, this last year, we have said more times, it's a great day than I think I've said in my entire life. It's really been wonderful.
Follow us at Wind Down the Road, and you'll be able to share our experiences and the places we go, and hopefully it motivates you to join Skoolie life.
Live your best life. That's what it's all about.